hospital. I was like, oh, good point. Yeah. It's that time. 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 We on the foosball field with our foosball friends. We got a lot of foosball friends out here. Let's go. Let's go. Come on now. There we go. That's that work. Get that work. Get that work. Get that work. Reps, 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 reps. Why is the D-line not over here?
D-line, D-line.
D-line. No, bring everybody over here so they see the drill, so they know what to do. Especially first day. Figure that thing out. There we go. Some vets in new places. All right.
Hey, hey.
There you go. Oh, okay, okay. Funny thing is, numbers are actually, we're missing some guys. That's the crazy thing is we're missing some guys. Look at the approach. That's the approach. There you go. Oh, yeah, that's kind of dope. There you go. There you go. Good job, Najir. There's a difference. You know, we're gonna put up that production chart versus the attendance chart,
right,
from the gym.
Is it possible?
I mean, anything's possible.
Yeah. Haven't gone there. To warm my arm properly.
Yeah, now would be the time to do it. And by the way, the receivers are doing the obstacle. Once they get out of the obstacles, come out, there's the ball. So everything's going to be really short. They can throw that to each other while you guys are doing proper work. He has no butt. He has no butt. Look at him. He's thighs and spine. That's all he is thighs and spine. He ain't got no butt. Never get his ass in the camp. Oh, he got the OTAs. But yeah, okay. We're looking for you coming out here. Let's go. We'll see you Wednesday. Rome's gonna be here Wednesday too.
Rome sucks.
Split up. Everybody getting work. Nobody dropping 8 passes, or else you go to defense. If you can't catch, we teach you how to tackle. 2-ring year, man. That's it. Got hardware to. Woo! All right, all right. I was there with you. I was there with you on that. Looking good, man. Numbers looking good, especially for day 1, essentially. Yeah. I can't complain, man. What's up, Blue? Let's get these receiver stations set up. Help out Chad, please. I think we're almost at 50 right now. And it was just like that this became our new reality. Off of a football field and into a classroom, so to speak. Into our own homes, into video conferencing, into internet lives, and our new reality included, again, a different way of doing business and a different way of doing football. And we came out for the better. So, as you know by now, this thing called COVID-19 hijacked 2020 in a way that none of us really thought was possible. And as the storm starts to clear, so to speak, and things are starting to open back up, we kind of take into account that there are a lot of teams in the midst of this thing that didn't survive, had to shut down operations for 2020, and ultimately for us, the decision to push ahead and to continue with 2020 was one that didn't come lightly, so to speak. So what we have done is we have put ourselves in a position that once we acknowledged that the tragedy that was occurring and unfolding before our eyes was going to have to change the way that we do business, it was also going to be us that is going to lead the way in making the corrections and doing things in the way that makes us able to open up football and the services that we provide for our community in a way that respects and follows the guidelines of COVID-19 and the government regulations that have come with. So practices into online meetings met during the course of our regular scheduled practice from Mondays and Wednesdays, 7 to 9 p.m. But instead of being on a football field, we were on a computer. We managed to get ourselves in a position where we became a much smarter football team. So the X's and O's and all the board work that we did was to keep our guys engaged with football. And once we came back onto the field later on, it definitely made a difference. We became very smart in the way that we do things, getting everything out in terms of the playbooking and what have you before we even touch the field. Getting guys in a position to be able to compete because they're not trying to engage with information at the same time of engaging in the interaction of football. So worked really well. We did our live conferencing. We did our Google Meet where the players were able to interact with one another, and also we had guys that had some real tragedies. We had guys that lost family members. We had guys that lost very close relatives and such. We had guys that had the virus as well during the course of this. So we've gone through the gamut and have ridden the waves accordingly in a very responsible way to try to get out on the other side with a game plan, an actionable plan of how we're going to operate and support our community through this. We even did a food drive, helping out the people in the community. Aspire of New York and PSMS 31 led the way, and we assisted them on their initiatives. But it was just for us managing to have a presence in the community and really to give back to the folks that are in real need. I mean, if it was a need before, it definitely was a need.
What's up, young man?
I'm alright.
What you out here doing, man?
Helping the people, man. People that need the food, I'm helping them help them out, giving them food, hope they enjoy it. Just here for the people.
Hi.
You know what to do, girl.
Hi, this is Goya from the Patriots. You already know. We just here giving out some good vegetables, making some good dinners tonight, and doing the Patriot way is the only way.
There you go.
So from a football standpoint, we knew that everybody was going to be behind the 8 ball. So if we couldn't get better physically, and of course we did, everybody was working out on their own, these different regiments online that you could do. We definitely kept everybody up to speed on those situations or what have you. But again, the mental side of things is really what we're hoping to see as we turn the road into 2020 and see the difference between the 2020 team and the 2019 team.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's your boy Specs, aka Terrell. As many of you guys know, I myself am an essential worker. I work at New York Presbyterian Hospital. But today, it's not about me. It's about all the other essential workers out there in New York and across the whole globe that are working to fight this coronavirus and making sure everything is going to be taken care of so that all of us are healthy and safe. So on behalf of myself and the New York Patriots, we'd like to give you guys a thank you, especially for your hard work that you're putting in through this whole social climate right now. So, thank you.
So that is our new reality. COVID-19 put a huge dent in 2020 for us. It eliminated 2020 for many teams. So for us, it's just about putting this thing back together again, and it started with practice. So as we got out of the online section of what we were doing, we didn't want to abandon that altogether, because what we immediately saw is once we got back onto the field, our players were a lot more efficient in what they were doing. So when we got out to the field, we noticed that even our practice plans, we were getting through the material a lot faster than we historically have done. And with that became the responsibility to, one, open up in a safe manner, and two, to make sure that we were as efficient as possible with the time that we had, because we weren't sure about what would close up again and how guidelines would change or what have you. We also weren't sure as to when we would actually start playing football. So our sense of urgency was essentially that we would have 2 weeks between the time that we opened up to the time that we would be playing football to keep score and try to win games or what have you. So what it started with for practice out of the online version was the group workouts or what have you. So groups of receivers and quarterbacks were getting together, again, staying in shape, getting a little bit of chemistry down that we had lost. Thankfully, because we had the indoor workouts, thankfully because we had opened up camp and the weather had cooperated, that we were not so far behind the 8 ball. We were actually very far ahead of where we had been in anticipation for this 5th season of New York Patriot football. So we were already ahead, so this kind of put us, actually right on track to where we historically have been. So those individual workouts where players were meeting on their own in different areas, spaced out, in areas that made sense, that were open at the time or what have you. That's how it really started. After that, we would have offense and defense and set the course of practice. That's the way we ran things during that time or what have you. And as we're getting closer, we knew that we were going to have to open up. It would be a 2-week period where we would have 2 weeks to really get everything right before we would be on the field keeping score. So from there, we listened to the guidelines as we got into the next phase, as we were entering, as we were in phase 2 and everybody was kind of getting used to phase 2 going into phase 3. We did a few one-on-ones, again, not even doing really with pads or what have you, and doing that during one aspect of practice, and then for another aspect of practice in a separate area altogether, putting on pads just to be able to get the feel of pads, again, reducing contact, reduce the risk of the spread or what have you, and adhering to guidelines, but still keeping in mind the USA football standards when it comes to contact and getting enough contact before you actually play a game. So as we know, Connecticut opens up first at this particular point. Massachusetts, Maine, they're all going through their guidelines or what have you. And since we play teams in essentially 5 different states, we knew that we'd have to be very versed on the guidelines in those states, including the different counties in upstate New York, because we have some competition that we're playing.
Game this weekend.
Well, at practice on a Monday, Wednesday, weekly basis, normally what I would do personally is wash my hands, take a shower before practice, pack myself extra hand sanitizers, wipes, extra face masks, just in case myself or my teammates need any extra assistance. During practice, we normally would wear masks in between drills, in between sessions. Normally for games, it wouldn't be too much any of a difference, but traveling, we would have our mask on at all times between the time we meet up to the time we are actually set ready for the game. In between games, in between, like during halftime, we'll do the same thing, wash our hands, hand sanitizer, and re-prep to go back outside and meet up with the other team. And then on the way home, we'll do the same thing, mask on, wash our hands, hand sanitizers on and off the buses between stops on our way back.
Being that we were dealing with COVID-19 and we had all these rules and regulations to stop us and, eventually rules and regulations for us to follow, what is it that you're looking forward to after having, several weeks of practicing, not as usual? What are you looking forward to till our first game day this
just
weekend?
Like any other player, I look forward to actually making contact with other people that are not my teammates. The best thing about football is being able to hit other people and have fun doing it and not get in trouble for it. So, for a lot of people, it's a lot of stress relief, it's a lot of fun, so it's an activity that a lot of people like to get into, and for us to not be able to practice and have games up until now is not all that great for us, but the anticipation makes it better for all of us as a whole, and upcoming season and the playoffs and trying to win another championship.
Saturday, what are some of the concerns that you have with this game coming up in Connecticut?
I think it's just rust. Time. We haven't had enough time to really gel and everything due to the pandemic. Limited practice. We tried to make it as much as we can, but on-field practices and workouts, we didn't have a lot of that. So I would say rust for a lot of the guys, and chemistry.
The precautions and everything.
Just try to make us a game plan that I know that we best suitable for all my athletes and all my players. Not try to make anything so difficult. Again, it's our first game. We gotta get the chemistry down packed, so not try to confuse them. So, prepare ourselves till we get on the field, and during that game, we don't want to be a crazy, shaky game, but keep them calm and collective on the sidelines. Get ready for this game.
At this particular point, Massachusetts, Maine, they're all going through their guidelines or what have you, and since we play teams in essentially 5 different states, we knew that we'd have to be very versed on the guidelines in those states, including the different counties in upstate New York because we have some competition that we're playing up there. So now we're getting into full-fledged practice as we now know it, our new reality. We haven't had a quote-unquote normal practice for us yet this year. However, we do feel comfortable enough that we have enough work in to be able to go live and get into a game situation, which we will during the course of this week as we open up against the Connecticut Thundercats. ECFL opponent, we're of the same mindset that we want to get through the paces and show teams how to effectively reopen and effectively play football in 2020. And then moving forward, again, just being the model for everybody going into the 2021 season. So these practices in the 2021 and beyond season. So that's pretty much it as we go to the next step of this thing, which is defending the ECFL Independent Conference Championship. We have a couple of announcements that the league is going to be making in the next week or so about exactly who's going to be in the independent conference. And being that with everything going on for those independent teams to not only stay afloat, but a lot of them are making improvements. Saw some footage from some practices, and it's looking pretty impressive that those guys are going to push us to defend this crown or what have you. And keep in mind, last year we weren't the favorites to win it until after we had the trophy in hand. So there was multiple teams that were the favorites to win the championship in the independent conference. All of them named not the New York Patriots. So, but again, we press forward and look forward to a great 2020 season and beyond. So, for another episode of Battle Ready, it's David Patterson. See you later.